Hello, and welcome to another screencast brought to you by the Conan development team. My name is Jerry Wiltsey, and today we'll talk about an amazing graphical user interface library known as ImGui. To show the basics of this library, we will create a simple application with some controls like buttons, scrollbars, color editors, and more. We will show how easily and quickly you can create a graphical user interface using this library. But first, let's talk a little bit about the library and what makes ImGui different from other GUI libraries. ImGui is an MIT licensed GUI library mainly used in game development. It is focused on simplicity and productivity using what is called the immediate mode GUI paradigm. ImGui is renderer agnostic. This means that you have to provide the tools to render the data. This is a bit of extra work, but it is very easy to integrate your code with these tools, as ImGui provides multiple bindings for popular window and event handling libraries such as GLFW, SDL, and Glue, and multiple popular renderers such as OpenGL, DirectX, and Vulkan. Dear ImGui comes with lots of widgets like windows, labels, input boxes, progress bars, buttons, sliders, trees, and more. We'll use a few of these in our application, so let's get started. The purpose of our application is to draw an interactive triangle shape and add some real-time controls to edit its position, rotation, and color. As we said earlier, ImGui is renderer independent. So besides adding ImGui to our project, we also have to add the libraries which will do the rendering and the event handling. We are going to use OpenGL3, GLEW, and GLFW for that purpose. We will use the pre-made bindings from the Dear ImGui repository to connect ImGui to the renderer. Now let's start working on the source code of our program. The minimal code to make this work is in main.cpp. First, you initialize the window for rendering. Then, you have to initialize the Dear ImGui context, the helper platform, and the renderer bindings. You can also change the renderer style if you want as well. Next, let's look at the while loop inside the main function. It's an infinite while loop which draws the screen on every iteration. This is one of the defining characteristics of the immediate mode UI paradigm. Finally, at the end of our program, we have to perform some cleanup as well. So, if we render this initial code, here's what we'll get. It's an empty window, but it's fully functional. Next, we want to add some code to paint a static triangle inside the main window. When we run the application with this code, here's how it looks. Now we want to add some controls to our application, which will allow us to modify some of the triangle's properties in real time. ImGui comes with a function called showDemoWindow, which gives us an interactive demonstration of most of the controls ImGui provides. When we add this function call and run our program, here's the window. For our example, we'll use the slider to modify the triangle's position and rotation, and the color picker to modify the color. Here is the code which creates our controls. First, we create the slider to control the rotation of the triangle. We provide a string, which will appear as the label on the control, along with an initial value and a min-max value. Next, we create the second slider, which will control the position. Finally, we create a control called colorEdit3, which also takes a string for a label, and an array of floats, which will be used to hold a base color and the color values for each corner. Okay, that's it. We've added 3 new controls to our window. As you saw, it's very easy to get started making a simple GUI application and adding some controls iteratively. Again, feel free to clone this code and continue adding more controls and exploring more of what the ImGui library has to offer. Now that we've shown what ImGui can do, we want to demonstrate one of the easiest ways to set up a C or C++ project to use it. Sometimes in C and C++, the hardest part of setting up a new project is dependency management. For example, with our demo, we not only have ImGui, but also the window and event handling libraries and all the renderers. Our solution for dependency management is Conan, the package manager for C and C++. Conan has a central repository called Conan Center, which holds packages for many popular open source C and C++ libraries. You can search it on the web or via the Conan search command. To use packages from Conan Center in our project, we started by creating a file named conanfile.txt, which let us list our dependencies with a simple syntax. We also specified that we're targeting the CMake build system. Finally, we added an import section, which declares that we want to copy the source and header files for the bindings provided by ImGui from the package to our project's bindings directory. This will all take place before we run our build. With the Conan file in place, we can run the commands shown here to perform the build, which will get our dependencies from the Conan packages. The operative command here is the Conan install command. It does two major things for our project. First, it downloads all the dependencies to a local binary cache on our system. If there are pre-built binaries available for our system, it will download them. If not, it will build them from source on the fly and store them in the cache. Second, it produces the necessary CMake files to enable CMake to locate the dependencies in this local binary cache. From there, we can use CMake to build our application and run it. So that's all it takes. As you can see, with Conan and a fairly simple text file, we were able to take a non-trivial set of open source dependencies and plug them into our new project with ease. We hope you enjoyed this screencast. If you did, and want to stay updated on our upcoming videos, please be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons on the YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.